into the final game out of NA East. Take us in, Shy. Take us in, Sundown.
I mean, it will be Kanata dropping in. We haven't seen too much from him today, except a few cool early, late, mid glimpses of how his fights are going. This time, though, he'll have 2 shotguns to boot. Not exactly what he's going to be looking for. I would say, yeah, pick up the tack. Use that as the primary roller in this fight. So he's trying to get right through. But right now, a few speed bumps in the road. The last game of NA East, and he doesn't have the speed to take it in this box fight just yet, Sundown.
No, and I mean, this goes from being really scary, or like right off the bat, you think, okay, I have the tack, I can go, let's do this. But then all of a sudden, you see that the other person drank a couple shields, and you only have 4 builds, and now you're like, do I really want this fight? Can I win this fight? He takes first damage, gets 40 back over onto him, but it doesn't break the shield, so you know he had at least 10 more health there. Like, you're at a deficit here. You kind of want to disengage the situation, but something about landing on one of these scavenger routes and having another player closing in as you see that dark purple or dark pink, whatever color that is on the map, coming over here. You don't really always get all the resources you want, and you kind of have to press forward, but he makes it happen. Casket going down right away, but can he cover himself? As Pulse Fishy trying to get in immediately onto Canada, knowing that he was low, hearing the fight off of the start. But Canada having the refresher of mats might be the big difference. They're immediately going up to 8. Pulse Fishy trying to force through the wall, and this is huge if Canada's going to be able to take down an early 1v2. 78 tag comes through, evens up the HP a little bit, but he has to be careful here, Shy.
Yeah, he doesn't have that much to kind of hold off with so far. Now just half a mag left in that shotgun, but it's right there. Pulse goes down. He picks it right up. 2 eliminations total for Kanata now to roll in with the competition. Frenzy farms in the hideout next to it. It'll be Kaz, Zypha, Mero, and Kotal looking to find ways in. And oh no, Kaz, who I saw teetering near that top 80 spot, taken out for just right now. Mero will look to third party even more, landing 100 damage past what he should have, I think. Kotal should have known exactly where he was after we saw Kaz get taken out. He's now knocking on the door at the same time. Has so many switches available in terms of which guns he wants to use. The ammo count, though, is not there. The tactical shotgun, just 9 shots left. And it's Zypha who kind of plays around with the amount of edits that he has, tricking Miro. But the one thing that you can't mess up is this man's aim. Hitting shot after shot, both.
You have Donnie, who's on Twitch. Make sure you go check him out here if he's able to win this fight. If he doesn't, then don't check him out. That's how it works. Clutch or kick.
That is how it works sometimes. Clutch or kick right here, Donnie. Okay, ooh, that's a big clutch. A 2-tapper on the clicks. Well. Yeah. That's going to be great huge. And now Bludge. He's going to try as well.
Yeah, but unfortunately for Donnie, he was only sitting on 21 points yesterday, putting him up to 82 points so far for the day. So unless he's able to get kind of a 30 bomb plus elimination game here, which I don't see happening with only 58 players left in the lobby, his day is effectively over. So more than anything, he's just playing spoiler and kind of getting some additional warm-ups in before that reboot round on Friday.
I mean, he also has the opportunity to affect other people's games as well, playing for practice. Right now, Clicks got taken out in possibly what could be the last game of the competition for his night. Curious to see exactly where he is overall, and if we just watched an individual get stopped from qualifying in week number 2, thrown to the reboot. Donnie, though, picks up Bludge in quick fashion. Yeah, I mean, it'll always be different play styles, not only, but your right attitudes from box to box. Right now, Mero a little bit too happy on the trigger finger right there. Hornet will be right behind him watching that happen. Adonis flying straight through in the mid game, as everyone's games are now building forward to their bases, to where they're going to be in temporary spots to look for a little bit more action. As we mentioned before, Mero is obviously fully qualified just off of today's performance. 91 on day 1 though, and might be a reason as to why he's so successful today. Big shots and a cause to 100% celebrate on the defensive spectrum of that fight there, and taking things out in just 4 bullets. And U-Belt, old name also Frat, not sure if it's going to be a rebrand or just a shout out to a friend or show he likes. He'll be looking to move forward, land a few shots. It's going to be a grief fight all the way back here towards the Storm. Every elimination at the moment matters, though. You got to consider those tiebreakers at the end of the day. He's running out of materials here. He's looking to see if he can win out this fight. The Pyramid there trapped this player. 2 shots, one small, one huge, but having 200 HP effectively overall with those shields. Crave will once again...
Not the densest of lobbies, but still a solid amount of people in here. Again, we've talked about it. Queues have been closed. This is the final game we're going to cover on NA East. And Polarize is another player who we need to keep an eye on. He was 203rd yesterday with 53 points. However, today, more than doubling that at 118 right now. And honestly, it's going to take, again, probably another 4 elims or a top 5 finish in order for him to qualify here. Otherwise, a combination of the two could end up doing it, but he's really going to need some kind of performance to push himself up there. And as we say it, Donnie, all right, clutch your kick. You guys, you can take the follows away from him. Good try, Donnie, because Polarize sent you back to the lobby there.
That we'll be seeing, and Polarize might be able to see that top 80 as well today. And we've talked about almost every single person in terms of their point update at this point. But he'll choose to play it slightly safer. It'll be Sharpshooter. We'll be getting a taste of his own medicine right here, getting shot up straight towards the body. A little bit of damage taken, not too many builds left, just 4 pieces now, but he reigns so strong with shots. Justice, not sure if he even needed to take that peek, maybe a little bit of a throw. You were talking about people who needed eliminations. He did the damage. He could have just ran out and had an easy pickup on 4 points. Now his competition's kind of over. He has the opportunity to just go crazy, but we talked about the way Commandment handles these lobbies, these positions when it comes to where he is overall in the leaderboard. I think Miro is kind of the same way. As I say that, he hops straight into a box, goes for big beams. This is very smart though, but also just kind of ironic in terms of what we were talking about before. It's Paul who actually gets taken out. I'm not sure if he was close to qual range. I'm not sure if he was confirmed in there, but if he wasn't, that's it. Reboot round is where he'll have to go after this, and right now Miro chooses who gets to live and who gets to say goodbye in this last game of North America East.
And the only reason I would say that push was actually intelligent was because right before we cut cameras, you saw Paul get ripped apart. So he knew that player had freshly built builds between him and was also desperately trying to put on shields. So pushing through the heavy sniper, good attempt to capitalize there. It's low enough where you can just kind of ramp off of the bottom. It's not some of those deeper water sectors that completely negate you from being able to build in there. As we see Scoped just kind of push right on into AJ's box, getting into that phased floor and not really giving him an option to...
And Vedon Legacy is slightly above him. Vexy's right there, though, next to his box. He might choose to go straight for him. He has the option of looking downwards as well. A very interesting place he's actually in. He could just drop here with the heavy sniper. He's going to try to. And surprise, surprise, the combination is there. You can't even jump over him. He'll still be able to track you. Miro, with 6 total eliminations, now, though, focused and chosen by the whole lobby. A tricky situation to get out of, but his old base is so close, so nearby that he can hop straight right into it. It's a whole metal, basically starship in the middle of this map, and everyone's just kind of hold on to it because no one wants to be central zone where the river is and be subject to playing in water.
Yeah, though it will highly depend on where that 5th zone, the half in, half out pulls. That's going to dictate a lot of the action. You can see as we talk about that it does pull due south. You see Scope trying to line up a shot there, but not quite going to be able to hit that one there. A little difficult going through, not able to line it up, but will have an edit angle if he decides to try and take some additional shots over on the side. You can see him setting it up so he can kind of shoot down and shoot at anybody who might launch without really getting poked at from the side. So really good job covering himself there. Hit some white tags, but unfortunately the elim is going to go over to Assault Degen instead, trying to line up another snipe shot, but nobody necessarily overexposing as pretty much everyone has now rotated into the circle.
And Scoped in this position right now is basically all in. If he ever takes damage, only Siphon can really save him. Yes, he can go all the way down for those floppers, but I'm pretty sure he wants to save those for the Storm. Save those for later on. Gets a big elimination. That's so important because he has, as I mentioned, no shields. Now he'll be at that full effective, almost 200 HP. The movement now, when this half and in, half out zone locks in, will be a lot more safer for him, at least. We'll have a little bit of insurance in his HP pool. We tune into Astonish, who has a lot of extra shields, possibly stolen away from Scoped at the moment. And right now as well, the Grappler Sky's loot in play. He'll be using it to be troublesome to Height. The question is, when will he start to let the server know that he has it available? Because as soon as one person hears it, the way they play just changes.
Yeah, it's a really, really, really obvious and loud audio cue as well. Like, the entire lobby will focus towards it. You'll be aware of where you are. Additionally, too, he's so central in the zone right now that he kind of has to use it. And if you're going to use it, you either need to go very early or very late. He's opting to go late, as we do see Storm Surge. It does begin to tick over. Some good shots coming through here. Once one more player goes down, Storm Surge will no longer be a threat. You can see him. Got the siphon going through, going to use a high regular launch pad to go far side of zone. A Storm Surge does turn off there. Snake picks up Crumbler and Astonish, gets over with a nice little bunny hop to maintain momentum, and now he's just going to tunnel on in to some old builds as we get a look at the rest of the lobby, desperately trying to rotate through these old builds right now.
And there's a huge disparity where actual Height is and everyone else who's playing towards that low ground. Spark will be uncontested and using this situation, this launch pad, to move throughout, and Snake, who was in the storm, gets picked off mid-air just due to the damage that storm is putting down. Spark obviously landed a shot on him before. Nanolite alive though, taken out, but then takes out Zum, who was also all the way in storm. Right now, huge storm fights going on, although on mid-ground, Spark is still holding his ground, now has the agency loot, minus his drum gun, to use 3 eliminations, can easily double if he plays box to box to box. He's wondering when to go in, making minimal noise. The zone now on him. He's trying to identify opponents' patterns. No one around him or above just at the moment, actively searching to shoot his body. He has a very good prime position here to start raining down shots. There's the first barrage that goes down. Hornet gets taken out, then close range. He has an SMG to fall back on as well. The automatic weapons in Spark's inventory have no off time, no limit whatsoever. He can just choose to shoot whoever he wants, close and far, and right now he's almost at 6 elims and in the top 10 in the endgame.
And it should have been enough to push him over into qualification. He had 77 points yesterday, was sitting at 123rd, but now with 5 elims and into the top 10, adding up to just over 200 points now between these 2 days, up to 207, and making the drum gun go burr, pushing into the box over and over again. We talked about the high rate of fire weapons getting on your wall. You don't want it to happen to you. Schmacked gets absolutely smacked there as Crave, Starving Aiden, and Clarity G are on the low ground. Spark trying to use the grappler now to get up onto the high ground to challenge Bully, but Origins is just hanging out underneath as we begin to move slightly up this hill, so things are going to get a little awkward for those of us on the low ground.
And the Spark gets that grappler. He finds the ignition to drive straight to high ground. Clarity, though, getting very muddy all the way here on low. Doesn't have many materials to kind of push himself up past the situation, but does have the ammunition and power ready to block off Starving Aiden down at the low ground. Just 8 HP, does not have the juice to make it through the last portion of this game. And now it's a 1v1 Spark G, who took Height with 2 Mythic POIs worth of loot, versus Origins, who's lost in a big labyrinth of builds down below. Spark with 6 chooses to just stay back, shield up, and look for the 7th and the win. And right now, it's ominous. He's not sure where this player can be. He knows that the grappler won't be in play because it's in his inventory. There's metal builds below him, so it's going to be very hard to pierce through and look for shots. He finds natural low, though. Knows exactly where a player could go if he's in the situation. Finds him finally. Box to box, though. Tracks him 180 degrees. It's not enough. Around the world, his aim cannot reign true. It's Origins, who from the beginning lasts to the very end.
And it looks like Roller is actually in first place there. Now, keep in mind, that is a tiebreaker, because the only difference there is the eliminations at 43.
All the way from Aggression will stay at the top, still in the top 10, stretches up there. Scope is there too. People who fell downwards, though, Commandment, all the way 17th place, was trying to stay in the middle of the pack, but just rose up slightly above everyone else.